let's review this then. It's a Creda compact tumble dryer, max load of 3 kilograms. Judging by the blue writing at the top, this is a early to mid 90s machine made. Right, not that long ago, I put up a review of the Indesit IS31V. These are basically two very identical machines in every way. So the same size is applied to this as it does for the Indesit. What I don't have for this is the nose cone that goes over the front so you can adapt a vent to it. Actually, I don't care because this is for me, and where it's going, I can't vent it using the hose. So it's just going to be used as it is. Now, this is a very simple design. It has a small drum, a heater at the back, a fan that blows the through the heater, through the front. Now, normally on a normal tumble dryer, it then will duct itself downwards, back out, and usually round the back of the machine. Not in this case. We get rid of all that, and it actually just comes out straight out through the door here. So it makes it less complicated. This body design, where you basically have a chassis with a piece of metal that drapes it all over. You can take this off and then have access to everything inside. That's pretty cool. That design alone has been carried on even today. It's a reliable design, and you carried on forth with it. In fact, the only things that have actually changed over the years from the 80s one I used to have is that the 80s one used to have roller bearings, and the 90s onwards ones, which were all produced by Creda, use a front felt bearing and a rear shaft bearing instead. It does make it slightly more unreliable because the shaft bearing will fail, but it does take quite a bit of time on these. They seem to be very well put in right, greased up, and because of the small 3 kilogram load, I'm pretty sure it's the same as the larger 5 and 6 kilogram load machines. They don't wear out as fast. Right, if we're attaching a front nose cone, it's an optional extra on these, you've got 3 screw holes here, and that's where it attaches. You open your door here, pull, and it opens up. These can break over time, just be aware of that. Although it's it's open for you here, so it's very easy to replace. Your filter is here in the door. And honestly, that is actually how this machine came to me, so it's been looked after. Then it just goes back in and clips back into place. Down the bottom there, we've got our little serial number and model number. Inside we've got our 3 kilogram drum. It's basically the same design as the bigger one as well, actually. So you've got 3 drum paddles. It's got quite a lot of marks on here. I suspect something like buttons from jeans and stuff like that. It's been sort of scraping along it. We've got a heat button here. When the button's flush with the fascia, that's high heat. We use a 2 kilowatt heater. And when we push the button to come back out, that is low heat, and will pretty much sort of half the wattage from the heater. So we have our timer here. Now it's marked up in 10-minute steps, all the way up to 120 minutes, that's 2 hours. However, I do know that if you're drying a 3 kilogram load of cotton laundry, you actually only need 70 minutes. Believe it or not. This is how powerful the dryer is. Actually, it will even start from about there. So 122.5 minutes. Yeah, so lower heat, does actually use exactly half the wattage, including the motor. It's actually a bit lower than 1000 watts. So it must have a slightly lower voltage right now. It was reading before 2100 watts. But we've gone from reading 1000 watts to 1900 watts. Depending on voltage, you're going to get between 1800 and 2000 watts of heat. On low heat, you're going to get between 900 and 1000 watts of heat. That is literally half heat button. Couple other things. You've got this cable. There's zigzags, and that's because around the back you've got a nice cable tie that runs around like that. So, and the other thing is that this machine has wheels to make it easy to move in and out. Also, plus side, because it's a 3 kilogram dryer, it doesn't weigh anything. Like, literally doesn't weigh anything. It weighs about 15 to 18 kilo. Not 100% sure, but even so, it's less than 25 kilos, so you can pick it up by yourself. Right, let's do a demonstration then. I'm going to give the dryer actually a bit of a hard time. Because we're actually going to dry a full load of bedding. When I say full load, I mean full load for a normal tumble dryer. It's usually just one set, but there we go. That's a lot in there. Now, I don't really particularly like drying full loads of bedding in something like this, but let's try it out anyway. Select low heat, just because of the size of the load. Now it's bedding, so what happens is it restricts the airflow through the dryer. By selecting a low heat rather than high heat, it shouldn't suffocate it to overheat. But on top of that as well, it won't create damp spots anywhere. Right, one thing to note is that there is no overheat stat on this that you can reset. There is one on the heater, but not one per se that you can reset. In fact, Creda's Volt actually had one that would switch off the heater when it overheated and would kick back in when it relaxed itself again. But by drying on low heat rather than the high heat, all I've done is also doubled up the time as well. So I'd say naturally I put this on for about 55-60 minutes. So we doubled it up to 110 minutes. But theoretically, you shouldn't use any more energy drying on low heat as it would do on high heat if you're only using half the energy. Apart from the fact that the motor is still constant. With the dryer complete, let's have a look. I've she did actually dry. And nothing bold. Wow. And weirdly not that creased either. Which is quite surprising actually. Because there's not, with all that in, there's not much room for it to move around. Anyway, we'll take our filter out. There isn't really anything there. We'll just leave it. And then obviously when you put this back in, you'll notice, so we've got this here. So number one, these have to face out, these pins, and two, this will have to be at the top. And there's a little like indentation here. There's an indentation there, that's where this bit sits. Right, so let's give this out of 10 then. Well, for its compact size, it gets 9 out of 10. Yeah, because there's not that many compact dryers on the market, but just like the Indesit and this, there's no difference in build. The Creda would have come out maybe a bit cheaper. So actually it would have made it slightly better value for money for what it is. Other than that, it really is just a simple, lovely little dryer. Right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.